have wine in a live video, can't I?
Do you want to have wine?
I think we should have wine in a live video.
Cheers.
There we go.
Okay. Welcome back.
Hello, I am Lindsay with Raising a Little.
Oh, jeez. Hi. Yes, this is Lindsay. She's one of my dearest friends and another local business that I absolutely adore here. And we decided to come on for our second, because it is our big Bless Not Stress. This is Motherhood. So we wanted to do 2 tonight. And a lot of questions, Lindsay, as we've been mentioning, that have come up both in multiple of my classes, as well as with your families and your clients, is sleep. And a lot of sleep concerns, and
it's such a big, shit. Am I allowed to swear on this one?
Hashtag replay.
Put on your earphones if your kids are around. Lindsay has a potty mouth. Yeah, it's like, it's such a shit show that parents are subjected to around the whole sleep thing. Like, there's so many rules and there's so much pressure and there's so many shoulds and shouldn'ts and this and that, and a lot of them are kind of crap. They don't really work, or so.
Who here, let's go with number 1, has heard at least once about some kind of sleep rule? Hit us up with the number 1. Number 2, if you've heard it in the last 24 hours? Let's see that. Let's try getting some involvement. So 1, if you've heard of a sleep rule. 2, if you've seen it or heard of something in 24 hours.
Yeah. It's dark in my basement and the light is really weird and I look like a weird ghost. We were trying lights. I apologize. I'm just going to be a weird ghost tonight. And sleep was a big issue in our house. So for those of you who I haven't met or haven't talked to, I am a baby brain educator. That's what I do. So I work with a lot of clients, sleeping, particularly around sleep during the day. My kid, he hates the act of going to sleep. He loves to sleep like hell hath no fury, like that child if you wake him early from a nap or something. But to get him to go to sleep, you might at some point be able to hear him upstairs with my husband right now. He's not in a good mood. But getting him to sleep has always been the challenge. He loves to sleep once he's there, but doesn't like the actual act of going to sleep. So, we got the rules like crazy. Oh, he should sleep on his own. He should this. He should that. He should, he sleeps in my bed. We bought a king. I'm cool with it now. So, took me 3 years to get there, though.
3 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
And I keep looking over here. So we do have Mr. G.
He's rolling around on the floor.
Playing with a box. It's kind of how we roll.
So great toys.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So let's, if you're watching, tuning in, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or things that have really worked for you, because this is motherhood. This is what works for you isn't going to work for me, and what worked for me is not going to work for the person up the block with the newborn baby or another 4-month-old. So we really want to hear from you. So comment below. Let's get this interactive a bit. What are some of the things that have really worked for you? And
what's your current sleep issue or current sleep arrangement? Is it working? Is it not? That kind of stuff. So I don't know. Do you want to hear my sleep story?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so my child was born a boy. He was supposed to be a girl. That was my first clue that things were going to go differently than I planned. He had a tongue tie. He had reflux, so he screamed. He had heartburn and he was hungry. So he was not a happy camper. He only ever wanted to sleep on my chest, and I didn't know that that's what babies did, and now I know that that's normal expected infant behavior. But as a new mom, I had this bassinet, I had this crib, and that's where I had a jogging stroller that I never used to tell you that story one day. And he never went to any of these things. He never did anything. All he did was nurse and lay on me the whole time, and if he wasn't near me, he was screaming. So we went through every sleep arrangement you could imagine. He was in the bassinet. We did different swaddles. We literally bought every single sleep sack on the market. We did stumble across the Zippity Zip we were talking about, which was a sleep sack that did actually work because it did actually have, it does actually have some science behind it, as to why it works. Sorry, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so we might get a few notifications.
Okay, and comment so we can see an answer and engage.
Yeah, and so we went through everything from me, like, literally, like, walking down the hall 100 times a night to put him back in his crib and back in his crib. My husband slept in the spare room for quite a few months. We sidecarred the crib. We did a floor bed. Now we have a king that we just all sleep in. And, you know, everything short of full-on sleep training, because that was just something that was not... was not going to work with my kid, because he's a very spirited, stubborn child and doesn't do well with that kind of stress, and wasn't something that my heart would allow, you know, so that's kind of, you know, all the different things we tried and whatnot. And then becoming a baby wearing educator and working with parents and clients, I've met so many parents and heard so many stories, and I've read a lot. Like, when you have a kid that doesn't sleep, you get a lot of time to read. Right?
Yeah.
You know, I was joking. I got to read.
Too.
Yes, I got to read the entire internet.
Yeah.
Yes, so I learned a lot about what normal expected infant behavior is, and it's not what we see on TV. It's not what we read in books. It's not what we read on the internet, and it's often not what our mother-in-law tells us.
God bless them.
I love you, Rita. I do. I'm not actually speaking about you. I'm speaking about
In general.
The
Mills.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone can relate to that? The high, feisty, the difficult, like in temperaments, we have the easy, warm to slow to warm up, and then the feisty child, which basically comes out of the womb kicking and screaming. Yeah. Yeah. So you found some tools. What are some of the tools and tips that you have found? Okay.
Anybody? We're not seeing any comments, so hopefully you're commenting.
Seeing if I see there's a few people watching.
I see there's a few people watching, so if you do have any questions at any point,
say hello.
Did Gabe got stuck in the box?
In between the box and the couch.
I did have a really interesting conversation that Tanya and I were talking about just before we went on here earlier today with a sleep coach that it works out of Melfort, and we were talking about how 99% of the time baby sleep issues, they say in quotes, have nothing to do with the baby themselves. And everything to do with our expectations and the shoulds and the rules, not tools. Right?
Yes.
So.
And it's different with every child as well. So some of the tools that we wanted to talk about was sharing, like, coming on and seeing about how we can, what kind of tools we can pick out, or what you might be able to try tonight from watching or commenting. And like, this isn't going any which way. We're not saying to do one thing or not to do one thing, those kind of ideas.
It's all about, I think it's all about being open to the variety of tools and trying different things and being aware that what works tonight might not work tomorrow night. And that doesn't mean like you have to have a system and you have to have a series of rules that are going to work. You kind of have to have a tool chest that you can draw from. So, and then those are going to be the things that are going to help you, you know, survive and get through. So what are some of the tools and strategies you guys use?
Yeah. So some of you, and maybe not all, know that I'm a mom of 3. I have a 6-year-old as of yesterday. I have a 2.5-year-old, and then Mr. G, who's here, and he's 4 months old. So we have a wide range of ages.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, each of my kids have been very, very different. Mr. E, when he was a baby, I remember us having, he didn't nap, like 20-minute naps, etc. And I'm going to preface this with, I'm a social worker and I work in child development, and I always had this book of like, nap times at this time and this time, and this is what. Yeah. So I was very focused on that concept, like, oh my gosh, and watching the clock and feeding.
Well,
and
they should eat every 4 hours. They should nap right after, but never nursing to sleep, of course, right? Because we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I had all these kind of ideas of what was going to happen. Yeah, I remember struggling to put him to nap longer than what he napped for, and then finally I was like, hey, okay. So we baby wore, I think from like 3:30 till 9.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and that was okay. He fell asleep, and we finally made it through the night and fell asleep watching TV. Ryan and I, and then we came up to our second child. Oh, Miss Kay, love her. I do, and she was my difficult child. She basically screamed for 16 hours a day for 4 months, and that finally tapered off at about 12 months of age. So we got really good nighttime sleep because she just tuckered herself out all day. We tried, I don't know, fresh air, going outside, lots of walks. It was summertime, thank God. Sorry, Kanda, like you probably all heard her.
Yeah. I swear my neighbors must have thought that I was murdering my child, like, all the time. We did that a lot, too. I would put him in the carrier and just, I'd pop podcasts in was my big thing. I love listening to podcasts. And just walk and walk, and he would fuss and fuss and fuss, and then, or scream his damn head off. And then he would burp, and he would fart, and he would burp, and he would fart, and then he would pass out, because he was a really gassy baby, too. And then he would pass out, and then I would calm down, and the cool, fresh air would help to bring me kind of back into regulation, and bring my lid back down, now that I actually have words, thanks to Tanya, to describe what was going on in those days. And those long neighborhood walks were a lifesaver. I send a lot of clients out for long walks outside.
It's amazing what nature does, and what the research is showing about the lack of nature and lack of connection to
Yeah, I bet, hey?
It's really neat, especially with anxiety on the rise. They're starting to show that. Yeah.
I know, my acupuncturist always tells me to go outside and take my shoes off.
To become grounded.
To become grounded and become connected with the earth. Spend time with my shoes off and spend time outside. Because we don't. And I don't really like nature. So I don't get outside much. Thankfully, daycare takes my kid outside every day.
There you go. Yes. And then with baby number 3, he is my super chill baby. He just kind of goes with the flow.
Our sockless baby.
Oh, yeah, he's missing a sock. Yeah, okay. So, confession time. I always thought I would not let my kids sleep in their car seat for various reasons. Mr. Gabriel came to class with me at about 3.5 weeks, and we spend a lot of time in our day driving, as you or some of us know. We go from various quadrants of the city. It's not rare for me to spend 25, 35, 45 minutes driving Saskatoon. Saskatoon isn't that big. It takes like 20 minutes tops across, so you can see how many like pit stops I have. So he actually prefers sometimes to be put in his car seat, and I plop it up so none of the like slouching, and he will fall asleep so fast like that. I had to let that go. Had to let it go.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, you really do have to let it go and like find the system that works for you and the tools that work for you. Oh, hi. And that's one of the things, like, when I talk to parents about it, like, we know it's not ideal to let our children sleep in the car seat. We know that there's risk factors associated with that. Particularly, you know, like when that car seat is not in a moving vehicle, it's not at the right angle, and it can cause slumping, right? We don't ever want I say slumping because we don't want our chin to touch our baby's chest, or their chin to touch their chest. That can pinch their airway, and that can happen in car seats. We know that, but at the same time, like, the odd time my kid fell asleep in the car seat, you better believe I didn't wake him up.
Yeah, just plop something.
He slept most of his time in the carrier on my chest, and even that was sometimes not ideal because I was, you know, not always awake enough to be functioning, but it kept us both kind of going. And that's sort of the thing that I say to a lot of parents is absolutely everything we do with our babies has a risk profile. Yep, everything. Getting in the car and driving to the store, right? Staying home all day. All of those things have a risk profile, and it's understanding and knowing what those tools are and like how to minimize that risk and how to also work with it and accept it.
Oh, for sure.
So that we can live.
Or like, if oh no, I didn't post that live or on this group here, but I had a swing and the swing actually fell. It broke, and Mr. G here was in it, and then he was on the ground. So things happen. Okay, yeah. So we would love to hear from you, even on the replay. So
yeah, for sure. Comment. I'll post. If you have any questions or anything like that.
And I really hope that our conversation here is that it's okay. What works for you?
Yeah.
It's okay. Moms, dads, parenting is hard, and this is motherhood. And let's be blessed instead of stressed. Let's put some of our we had some similarities, some things that worked for us, and some things that just did not work. And then I know I shared with the 3 kids how. Oh, you're really spitting on me. I actually have drool, spit, on me.
Glamour.
Yeah.
That's what motherhood is. Glamour.
It is totally glamour.
Yeah.
And shiny drool.
Come here, big guy. Come here.
He's like, I just want to move and groove.
Come here.
I don't even know where he's going. So this is motherhood, and we want to be blessed and find those successes. So it doesn't matter if you put your baby in the car and drive around for 20 blocks, or they have him on top of the dryer, or safely bouncing. I've heard that one actually quite a few times. You put them in a carrier. You do a sleep schedule. You do whatever.
Whatever works. He really likes being up in the air. That's what's working right now. We're gonna go airplane rides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta find the tools and the systems and the strategies that work for you, and that's what's gonna get you through this. Because there is no. I think one of the hardest things is there's no universal right or wrong.
Yeah, they don't come with a...
No, they don't come with a manual. The hospital doesn't give you a manual. They've got a really strict no return policy too. So they don't tell you, they don't give you that, and then you find these books and you find these things that are like, do this, do this, do this, and your baby will do this. Well, that's not how they work, because they're all individual human little creatures, right? Even as adults, we act differently depending on the different stimuli and the different reactions that we have, right? So
Amount of sleep, exercise.
So don't get hung up on the rules. Look for the tools, look for the strategies that are going to help you, and take what works and just throw the rest out.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Wait, right now, spitting is the big.
Spitting is what's working for us, so we're gonna roll with it.
Spitting and crawling backwards. Those are his 2 favorite things in the world right now.
He's a cutie.
He's 4 months. That's
Yeah.
like at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I kind of have to say. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Ask them in the thing. If you want some tools, if you're interested in baby wearing, I'd love to meet up with you. Send me a message. If you're looking for a tool to help you nap on the go, it's a really great one. I've got lots of stock. I've got lots of demos and stuff to try. Tanya is also a baby wearing educator and a wonderful resource of knowledge in that too. So feel free to ask her any questions.
Yeah.
And
check out our pages for information and classes or just anything like that. So
yeah. Nope, your mom is watching.
Hello, Doreen. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so we're going to go.
Yeah.
And we would love to hear from you at some point about what has worked for you, what you had to let go of, and more in particularly, because we want to be blessed in this parenting gig, what really worked for you and your family.
Awesome.
Even as of what worked last night, because that's a big win.
Yeah. What worked that moment.
Thanks for watching our second episode of Blessed Not Stressed. This is Motherhood. Take care.
Night.